I remember when the initial trailer for Paprium dropped what now feels like an eternity ago. I was very intrigued. While the decision to release such an ambitious-looking project on the Sega Genesis was questionable in my eyes, I looked forward to the novelty of it. The cart was reported to be about 80 megs, 60 frames per second, and really high-quality visuals. Given Watermelon's work on Pierce Solar, I was very dubious of their capacity to meet these specs, especially on such limited and outdated hardware. But at this point in time, I was confident that Sega wouldn't be developing a new Streets of Rage anytime soon, so Paprium looked like the perfect surrogate of sorts. A little piece of blast processing nostalgic goodness, so I pre-ordered a limited edition copy that would have come with the classic Mega Drive packaging and an instruction manual for $70, and I waited. I had no problem standing pat and letting the development process play itself out. Throughout the rest of 2017, developer Fonzie was fairly chatty and kind of riding high. I won't go through a full list of the troubled, I should call it, details. I'll share a link to an article that I feel still holds up pretty well and is pretty accurate up to this point. But the key points in this timeline begin with the issues regarding payments. Customer payments through PayPal were struck down almost immediately. By August, customers were unable to place orders due to PayPal blocking Watermelon games, freezing incoming funds. The details are rather hard to pinpoint, and the account is dodgy in tweets regarding details, but it didn't take long before a lot of Watermelon's tweets were pretty...
You're breathtaking!
Let's just say placating, almost masturbatory towards its audience. They did a whole lot of ego inflating with people and telling them that things were great, things are perfect, don't worry, you customers are the best. But probably towards the later end of this year, the posturing kind of grew thin and customers were getting impatient. I mean, people had little to go on. There was no release window. There was no new details about the game, not even a follow-up trailer. Nothing really significant in terms of the game's progress or how far it was along. In October of 2018, Gweneo God, I'm pretty sure I butchered that name, held a party celebrating the Mega Drive's 30th anniversary with a playable, let's call it beta copy of Paprium. The card itself looked like a homebrew made out of Erector set pieces, a light bright particle board, and probably a half a Pop-Tart. Throughout the showcasing, most of Paprium's playthrough involved a lack of enemies, really sluggish controls, and the game crashed and rebooted more than several times. Now, I'm not going to imply that making a video game is easy, but what's going on over there at Watermelon Games, where if after several years of development time and manufacturing, this is the best product that you have to showcase to potential paying customers? This is making Revolution 60 look like Mario 64. And even though there was a later update around 2019 that the game was continuing to be worked on, seriously, since 2016, what's French for quality assurance? I kinda made a decision. I don't think I care anymore. I thought I'd be angry. I thought I'd be driven to demand a refund through their DMs and then go on a social media tirade about how this is the greatest heist job since Star Citizen. But, I don't know. Midway through last year in 2019, I feel nothing. The ambition I once had for Paprium, it's kind of become as antiquated as the hardware they intend to release it on. Putting aside the fact that this is a less than glorified homebrew, probably won't run at the specs that it claims to perform, and since Paprium's initial trailer, there's just been a resurge of interest in the brawler genre. Capcom recently released a beat-em-up bundle, which has 7 quality arcade games on it, including Armored Warriors and Battle Circuit. Ninja Warriors once again was re-released last summer. River City Girls from Way Forward is an exquisite and satisfying game. Raging Justice is intuitively unique. Hell, the very series that spawned Paprium is a phoenix rising from the ashes in the form of Streets of Rage 4, something I never believed that would happen again. I just figured Sega was always content with buying Atlas and milking the Persona series for what it's worth and tossing plug-and-play Genesis Anniversary consoles into the crowd like flashbang grenades than to truly resurrect one of their beloved IPs. Even Battletoads is coming back, and I historically have never been a big fan of that series, but I'm legitimately enthusiastic about giving this new game a go. I really dig the animation style, it puts me in the mind of Amazing World of Gumball or something. Yeah, so the Dark Queen isn't hot, I'm not 10 anymore. The field isn't necessarily barren, Watermelon Games. I don't necessarily know what your game's going to offer that hasn't been provided to us in the last couple of years. I mean, just having another brawler beat-em-up available? Okay. Because if it's just a novelty of being released on the Genesis, I'm going to kind of need a little more than some nostalgic window dressing to hold my interest. And sure, it's going into production, and that it's complete. The only reason I haven't canceled my order outside of just total apathy is because I want to see if this game is more or less playable than Unholy Knight, The Darkness Hunter. One of those old games, produced by somebody who said that it would run at the specs that you've almost promised that this game would run at. And that game was, let's see, what would be the best way to put it? Probably the equivalent of pouring lemon juice into an open, gaping wound. So, do you see the bar that I've placed you, Watermelon Games? Paprium now has to outpace Double Dragon 4 from Arc System Works in order for me to not be disappointed. And my feelings on that game's well documented. So, all in all, what does this mean? If copies are being manufactured as of this recording, according to one of their Facebook posts, their communication windows are still incredibly poor. The lousiest of lousy Kickstarters provide even the most modicum of lip service to their backers. Good or bad news. Don't tell people only good news is available. Keep people who've invested in your product as informed as possible, for better and worse. It's the same thing that Mighty No. 9 lacked throughout its cycle, and look how that turned out. Yeah, I poke a great deal of fun at Watermelon Games' expense, and they rightfully deserve it for handling this project that they've hyped up without having anything to showcase by now. Because relying on presumption can be very dangerous. But hey, it'll be better than nothing. Using mostly the Double Dragon 2 sprites is really unimpressive in 2017. At the very least, if you're going to go with the retro look, using the 16-bit sprites from Super Double Dragon would be more preferable.
Speaking of which...
One of the things that led me to believe Arc System Works just didn't care at all is that this game is called Double Dragon 4.
A simple Google search is all it would have taken Arc System Works to learn that not only was there a fourth game in the series, but there was also a Part 5. Yeah, it's based off the cartoon series, but it's a 5 nonetheless.